Hi, welcome to the Honest Academy. This is the tutorial we're going to be having today. It's simple gown with a side pocket and with a stylish collar. If this is what you want to learn, please kindly watch till the end so that you can get the best part of it. It's very simple and straightforward, straight to the point. Let's go in. So here I have my fabric folded into two for the front part of it. This is a fabric that we'll be using, and this is exactly what we have done. So I'm going to mark a border line. On this border line, we just want to have a straight line up here because the top of this is not straight. So from the border line, we're going to be marking our vertical measurements. First, we're going to mark our bust length of 11, and we're going to mark our waistline. These are just the measurements that we need, and then the length of the gown. I'm going to be using the 45 inches for Ankara length. So I'm going to mark the neck width of 3 inches. By the time I sew it, it will go down to 3.5, and then shoulder of 8 inches plus seam allowance of 0.25, which is equally going to affect the 8 inches, but that's fine. I'll come down by 1 inch at the shoulder tip. I'm coming down by 1 inch and slant it to the neck width. Now the depth of the neckline is 3 inches, 3 by 3. Okay, so I'll use my free hand and connect it together like so. Very simple tutorial that anyone can do, a beginner. Once you know how to match your machine, take your measurement, you can do it. Now I'm going to take the depth of my armhole. I'm marking at 8 inches. Okay, from the 1 inch slant, I'm taking 8 inches for my armhole depth. Now this armhole depth, I'm also going to mark the shoulder divide by 2 so I can get a straight line. Okay, and then I'll mark my bust circumference divide by 4 and plus 1 inch for seam allowance. That is on the armhole line, and I'm going to connect it this way, right? So once we are done connecting, at the bust line, actually we're equally going to divide our bust into 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance, and we mark it, connect together to the armhole. Now at the waistline, I'm also going to divide waist into 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. You can add ease of half inch if you don't want it to be too fitted around you. That will be fine because this is a free gown, and then it's going to have zipper at the back. Now I'm going to be inserting a bust dart from the bust line. I'll come down by 1 inch. So I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll mark my nipple to nipple divide by 2 so I can target where to connect the that length. Okay, towards the nipple. You can shift it 1 inch away so that it doesn't look awkward. This is my waistline. I've already marked the measurements. Now from this waistline, we're now going to slant to have our flay. Depending on how big your fabric is, you can decide to slant as much as you want, but we don't want it to be too big, so just going to slant a little. Right, you can see the way I kept my tape, and that is how much slant I want. So I'm going to take the length of the gown in such a flay form. You can also just decide to make it straight, but I want it to have this kind of flay kind of look, okay, not just an A-line shape. All right, so from there I'm going to connect like so. Okay, and then I'll equally connect the lower part just the way I've marked it and align it properly. So it's time to cut, and we are done with the front part. Everything that we need to do we have done. Just make a mark at the notch at the that area, so you can just hold it together and sew. So we'll place the front on the back, leaving 1 inch allowance for the zipper at the back. Now once this is done, the neck depth for the shoulder for the back is a bit higher than the front by 0.25, because I want it to come to the front a bit. Now the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. Aside this, every other thing remains the same. Okay, so I'm just going to cut, cut. Everything is just the same. Now because of the dart, 1 inch that we added to the front, the back is going to be shorter by 1 inch, so that when we hold the darts at the side, it's going to align with the back, and also so that the back will not look longer than the front. So we minus 1 inch from the back length. This is what you're supposed to do. All right. Now the next thing is to cut our sleeve. The length of the sleeve that you want, you're going to connect it like so. Then from that point of the length of the sleeve, I'm going to be coming down by 4 inches or 3.5, depending if you want to have some curve at the upper part. I mean puff. Okay, so at that point, take your armhole measurement, divide by 2 plus seam allowance. Okay, we did 8 inches plus half 1 inch, and that's where I marked. Now at the base, you're going to mark the circumference, divide by 2 plus 1 inch seam allowance, and you're connecting it this way, right? So if the person does not have big arm, you can just slant it like so using your curve, so that it doesn't look too big on the person's arm. Okay, so we just cut and cut. I'll use it to cut the other part. Now this is the base where I'm going to be attaching another color of fabric to it. Just place and cut. Okay, now the way I wanted to attach this before, it's no longer the way I attached it. I wanted to attach and fold up, but then I didn't do it like that again. I just sewed and it's just like that. We're going to see it later. Okay, so I've cut the facing. I believe we know how to cut a facing. Just have a little, like 3 or 4 inches below the neckline, everything at the top remaining the same. So use the facing to cut the collar. I'll place the facing this way. Now one thing you need to do here is to overlap the armhole part, or even overlap by half an inch, because we're going to join this facing, but the collar we're not going to join. So if you cut this way without overlapping, you're going to have excess after overlapping or sewing half an inch for the main fabric, and that will result in joining the facing, in joining the collar, and that was the mistake I made. So since I did not overlap it, I had to just join or cut the collar at the shoulder part and join it the way I joined the actual fabric. Okay, so I would advise that you overlap by half an inch for your seam allowance before cutting the collar. I hope this is understood. Okay, except you want to join it the way I finally did, which normally it's not how it's supposed to be. Okay, excuse me. So we're just going to cut it out. I'm going to use Ankara fabric to do the turning of the collar. The collar is supposed to be 2. I'm using Ankara fabric to turn it up before joining to the neckline. I hope this is quite understood. Now I've placed it on the Ankara and I'm going to trace exactly what I have. This is how it's going to look afterward. So we'll move over to cutting the pockets. Right, so I have two pieces folded together. This is for one side of the pocket. I'm marking 7 inches for the length of the pocket's mouth. I hope it's pocket mouth. Okay, so I'll just use the size of my hand to measure the depth of the pocket that I want. I might want to make it bigger and I'll shift my hand in more. Okay, so just trace out my hand around the way it is on the fabric. This is just quite simple, the way I make my own pocket, and it comes out really beautiful. Okay, so just trace it this way and I'm going to cut it using the same shape that I have just traced out. Like I said, this two piece is for one side of the pocket. So after cutting this out, I'm going to use this to cut for the other side of the pocket. Right, just tear it open at that 7-inch part, which is going to be the mouth of the pocket, the opening of the pocket, not the mouth, the opening. Okay, so whichever way you want it, so long as your hand can fit in, it's just fine. We're going to use it to cut the other part. Now to the collar, I've joined together. You can see where I have the joining because of what I said. So after joining the shoulders, you join the collar this way, and then we're going to use the facing, which we also joined, to turn the neckline. The collar was joined without turning, so we're using the facing to turn it right round. Okay, so now we're going to be joining the pocket. The main fabric, right side facing right side, we've pinned it together. Now mark the point where the pocket is going to be, and this is how we're going to place it on one side of the fabric, right side facing right side. Just look at the pictures, the videos, and you get it. Now locate the other mouth, make sure it will be matching with the first pocket, one side of the pocket that you've placed. Okay, make sure it is matching, and then place the pocket right side facing right side this way. Yeah, just the way I've done it, right side facing right side, and we'll pin it down. The way we pinned it is the way we are going to sew it, and after sewing it, we'll bring it out this way. Okay, this is how we're going to sew it, and this other part too, this same way. Just look at it, self-explanatory, and we'll bring it out this way before joining back and front of the garment together. So while joining using our seam allowance, this is what we're going to do. From the armhole, we're going to join this way, 1/2 inch below the pocket. Will go right round and come out to our seam allowance and continue. I hope this is well understood. Like so, 1/2 inch below, we turn and sew right round and go in by a seam allowance 1 inch and then continue. I hope this is well understood. So this is the sleeve, the way I just decided to sew it, join and iron it down. Very simple. So once you're done with this, all you have to do is to attach your sleeve to the main fabric and everything is done. Attach your zipper at the back and we are good to go. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the outcome. I'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.